In the past couple of movies, we've been examining ways to get sound effects to line up with tempo. And in this movie, we'll look at how to adjust the pitch of sound effects. It's really jarring when you have music in one key and the sound effect is like half a tone off from the root. Sometimes it's better when it's way off, like the third or the fifth of the scale. But if the music is in B and the sound effect is in C, that's jarring. Now, maybe you want jarring, but let's say you don't. Here's how you fix it. If you have a tuner, and Pro Tools used to ship with a tuner, I think now you have to add it on through the marketplace. But a lot of the Waves bundles have one, so I'm going to use that. Jump to the mix window. On my church bell track, I've put a tuner and then a pitch modifier. So here's my tuner. And if I hit this church bell, I can see that it tends to err on the sharp side of C, occasionally a little bit to the flat side of C, but it's definitely not exactly C. Let's jump back to the edit window now. Close this plugin. If I go to my piano track and I go to bar 2, event, operations, and step input, and I'll just put a chord on bar 2. And let's just make it a C chord. So now let's trim off our church bell and then move him to bar 2 so he's where the chord is. And take a listen. So not in tune with the music. Back to my mix window and look at my pitch modifier. We know that it was a little sharp. So here we have sandpaper type settings, coarse and fine. Let's try 20 cents or so, a little flatter than it started out. And let's see what that's like. Remember, this is real time now. We don't have to process this to hear it. So that's better. Let's try 30. Now, if you're not familiar with this concept, 50 cents is halfway to the next semitone lower. 50 cents on the plus side is halfway to the next semitone higher. And there's overtones in there that maybe don't work. Go back to the edit window. Mute the E note in here. Command M. It's Control M on a PC. We'll mute the third of the chord. And now we hear. I lost my input. My piano's just doing without the, and that seems to work better with the overtones of the bell. So that's how you can get a sound effect to match perfectly in the same key. Let's look at an option for having it match in a different key. So let's take the C and turn it into an F chord. And that might be a better option. We can also turn it into an A flat chord. Okay, and there the overtones really don't work so well. Command Z undo, take it back to F. And that's kind of an interesting counterpoint to the pitch of the bell. I'm not sure I love the sound of the piano and this bell. An electric piano would have a lot more compatibility, I think, because it would have less pure overtones than the acoustic piano. So that's something to think about too. Is it the right instrument? Closing this window, back to the edit window. Let's look at a second option. I'm in F now. I have a dolphin. Let's mute our bell. Let's unmute our dolphin. In shuffle mode, trim off this little part that's not dolphin at the front. Well, it turns out he's already in F, the little dolphin. Let's move him over to bar 2. And we'll trim off the little part here where he is working up to his sound. And then if we move him back over to the beginning, we have a couple of dolphin screams. All right, and we have options here. If he's in the key of F, we could, somehow this got moved off of 2. And get over there, okay. Now we have And again, another key with F in it is D flat. And so depending on whether you want seriousness or more comic or more whimsy, you'd pick a different key, keeping that pitch of the sound effect in mind. Now, in our talk about sound design, we talked about the extremes. So let me go back to the mix window. I will Option or Alt drag on a PC, the pitch modifier, and let's just take this thing way down and see what it sounds like. And he sort of becomes a different animal altogether. So you can change it a little or you can change it a lot, but changing it a lot might actually change the character of the sound and not just change the pitch of it. If you're an audio person and you don't know the first thing about music and keyboards, you don't know a semitone from a sousaphone, this is probably the best system for you. But if you're musically talented, or even if you just have a MIDI keyboard and use it as a typewriter, there's a plugin that you'll like. And we'll look at that in the next movie.